Hi everyone, Emma here. I wanted to show you how to make a bracelet with one of these, I think they call them charms. I got them on AliExpress. Um, and the reason I say I think they call them charms is because if you take a look at this, there's only one hole. So there's only a hole here to attach. So that would be like a pendant. I guess it's a pendant because it's larger than a charm. I have used these before for bracelets, but I'm wondering if maybe I was doing leather work and I put a knot around the tail as one part of the bracelet and then the other. There's also some holes in her hair that are quite easily used for stuff, but I'm going to show you this. We're going to put holes in it. We're going to put a hole to attach it, but we're also going to put another hole here, and we're going to dangle some crystals around it. So let's take a look. So unfortunately, you need a bunch of tools for this. But I'll tell you, these are some of my favorite tools, and tools that if you're doing this a lot, I think this is something you should definitely invest in. When I bought this, it was $10, and I say it that way because a lot of the items that I've bought, prices have gone up in the last 2 years of COVID. So this one here was $10. I think it's probably about $20 now on Amazon. You can get them at most jewelry or like bead making stores, jewelry making stores. So this makes holes. There's two sizes, one on each side. I also use this to take my Canadian pennies and make buttons with them for my leather wrap bracelets. So I've done that in other videos and done giveaways with it. So you can take a look at that video. So this one's super tiny. We're going to ignore that hole. We're going to use this side here for the hole. The other thing that you need, because these are flat and you want it, they're quite large, so this wouldn't fit. You can see how it sticks out on either side. So you definitely want this rounded like this one. So I already went ahead and rounded this one. And you can see now it fits super nice. And doesn't matter which way you put it on, it's going to fit. So I'll show you how to bend the straight one. This is the tool for that, and I got this one on Beataholic during their closeout sale, 70% off sale. They're probably about $20 to $30 for these, and I'm just thinking maybe I got this on Amazon. I'm just thinking because how heavy it is. I didn't pay anything for shipping on it. And usually when you buy tools, so that's a little hint. If you're buying tools from your favorite bead store, most of them have a disclaimer that even though they offer free shipping for say $50 orders, that some things they will add shipping cost to because they're so heavy, and this is definitely heavy, so pay attention to that. But if you look at Amazon, they're definitely, I mean, Amazon offers free shipping on most of the items, so there you go. So we're going to use that. I've got my bead reamer. I use that just to file some of the sharp edges. We have the chain, and you can use any chain. I was thinking of using this one. It's a little finer, but you know what? I think we're going to go with the chunky, and you're going to need a Lobster Claw. I put this one out. I kind of like this one to go with the thicker chain, but I'll tell you, I tested it on the loop here, and let me enlarge this so you can see. If you watch how this closes, open and close, I really like this, but it's the first time I realized. If you watch the little arm, how it opens, it sticks in quite a bit in that circle. So it makes it hard to get by things. So I'll show you, for example. So now it's getting stuck. on your loop. I mean, not a big deal, but you know what? When you're trying to fiddle to put your bracelet on and take it off on your wrist, you don't have two hands to do it. You're usually doing it with one hand. So I think we'll stick with this one, this simple lobster claw. Now, you can put it on the loop. I have put out 2 split jump rings, nice big ones, that we might just attach and then attach it. So we'll see when we get to that point. I put this one out just because again, it's been a while since I used these, so I didn't remember that there was no hole on the tail. So I kind of looked through my mermaids that I had, and this one here actually has a loop on each side. So I don't know. I just thought I'd show you. Usually when I show these, people ask where I got them. I got them from AliExpress. And if you type in the search mermaid pendant, it will come up. I think even if you put mermaid for jewelry making, it'll come up one of the first items. It's high up. And they're super inexpensive. They're, I don't know, maybe 50 cents each when you buy a bunch. Now those, the price went up as well. Then I've got some of these lovely Raven's Journey rondelle crystals with a gold patina on the outside, and we're going to use these 50 nose as spacer beads. So let's get started. I think what we should do is I'll show you how to make the holes first and show you how easy it is. So the other thing, I put the silver one out too, so you can see this one I did curl a bit. The other thing I'm going to be doing is some video on doing patina with this, and we'll do the vintage patina as well as the swelligan. So, but that stuff's a bit messy, so you know, yeah, I'm a little hesitant. It's so funny. I wore gloves my whole career as a nurse. You never thought of going into a room without gloves on. And now I hate wearing gloves and my hands get so dirty, but I think I better wear gloves for that situation. So the other point I wanted to make about putting this hole in here is you should do the hole before you bend it. And this one here, I did it after I bent it because I was kind of looking to see how it looked when I bent it. And I did it after, and what that did, if you look at the tail, this part of the tail was curled all the way and it flattened it. So when you go to put it in here, because you're squeezing it between this bar, it will flatten whatever you have. So it's best to do it ahead of time. So I'll show you. Actually, I won't bother doing it on this one because we want to put a hole in the middle. Now, we are going to dangle some crystals from each hole and then bring them to the middle so they don't like hang way down. I want them attached. So you can kind of find your midpoint to it or decide where you want your chain to dangle. So I do think we'll put it somewhere in here. So just go ahead and take that like that and slide your tool, and let me enlarge this and see if I can get some better light on that for you. Okay. And somewhere in here, I'm going to bring that down till it gets a bit close and then we'll adjust it. And I want it to be close to the edge of the piece so that when we put a jump ring, it will come down a little better. But I might have to bring it in just a tick, and I'll show you on the other one why. There's a ledge on this. So if you're putting it right there, you might find it hard and it might like push the ledge out. So, and you can actually, let's do this. Let's do it this way. Flip it this way. Then you know where the edge is. Let's put it about there. And bring that down. Let me see if I can lighten that, brighten that a bit. So it's still loose, I can move it around. Let's go about there. So it's going to move your piece there away from that ledge anyway. Okay. So now it's in place. I'm just going to turn this. Now your piece will turn, but once it hits this side, it won't move anymore. And you just grab hold. It takes a bit of maneuvering. Oh, the tail's in the way. That's another reason for not bending it, or for putting your holes before you bend it. You can see it's actually, I can feel it. It's gone in already. And I just try and get that past the tail. There. That snapped in. There. And then you just unscrew this, and again it's going to flip to the other side, and it will keep it secure. And get your out of the way. And here, there's your hole. Oh, let me adjust this lighting here. And there's your hole. There we go. Okay. That. So on this, depending on which way you put your vise, you can kind of see. Let's show you here. These little pieces that are sticking out. So you want to get rid of those. They're sharp. So what I do is I come from the edge and go in to kind of push them back in. But you can, if it's substantial like that, you could take your flush cutters and just clip the little pieces off. Like that. And it also, like, it pushes it towards the middle. Let's see what we got here. There. That's actually, it's not sharp anymore. But now I will just go and put this in like this and twist and turn. And just be careful. This metal is pretty, I want to say junky. So it's coated with this yellow finish. So if you start like sanding on it, you're going to lose the finish. There's no point being polite on this stuff. And you know what? You have to be careful too. You know, somebody brought this to my attention a while ago about the metal coming from AliExpress having some parts that aren't healthy for us to be wearing and to be around. So normally when I do stuff, I seal anything that I've done like that, so that now for this situation, I'm doing a video. Most of this stuff does not get worn. It's just for the sake of a video. But if you're concerned, I would seal it, and you can seal it with your like Swelligant, or sorry, your vintage finish. like a lacquer finish. And if you do, so this one's really quite sharp. If you do polymer clay, you probably have a finish that you like to use. And I know there's Turtle Soup Beads has a really awesome video on using like floor polish as the finish. Let's see if I can clip these little pieces off. They're quite pronounced. These guys in there. Okay. There we go. So we're ready. So I'll show you how to bend one of these. And I mean, there's not a lot to it. You want to decide where you want it bent and then go from there. I tend to go from the middle out. So I just put it in. Now you have to look at your tool. You see where the bend is. So make sure you bend it. The front is the high point, and then the edges bend down into the back side of it. So you take it just like that. And it takes a little bit of, messing around a bit. So I'm just squeezing now. Let me see if I can show you that. So I did find this one I had to bend a lot and just find different spots to bend. That sounded like it cracked, and it did. Look at it, cracked right along there. It's still intact, but again, that would be a spot that you might want to seal because now the metal's exposed. So let's just continue. So then I just go all the way along. And that. Keep going. And I found for the end pieces that I bent it a little more. Now I have a really small wrist. If you have a normal size wrist, you won't have to bend it as much. So like for here, I would bend her arm over a little more. And you can see how I bent the tail. So just keep going like that. You can see, and bend. Let's see if I can get this to bend a bit. So just keep going. Normally when you're doing this, it doesn't take this much effort, but this is like an unusual piece. It's quite elaborate, the design, so there's a lot going on. So then you can take this and just use your other hand to hold and bend it a bit. And like that. There you go. And again, I just went in the tail and bent the tail like that. If you want that other side of the tail to bend a little better. There. And so for mine, I did a lot more bending. I bent her arm down a bit. Stuff. So let's put this one together. So I have the 2 jump rings and I have some chain. So let me see. Let me put it this way. See how much chain I need. About there. So I need my tools. And I've been organizing today because my project bin is just a mess. Well, I call it a project bin. It's my table that I have in my office is covered in stuff. So this stuff is really cheap. It tarnishes, or not tarnishes, but scratches really easy. So I just held on to this and it scratched it already. So if you're opening a link, you might want to get rid of that link. But let's see if we can do this. And because it's chunky, you really have to open it wide. There. Okay. Let's put that on there. And close that back up. And instead of opening the other, I will open the jump ring. So at this point, you can just leave it as, you know, nothing, no embellishment. So I'll show you what that looks like. I think we're going to put the lobster claw on this end. So let's do that. And close this jump ring. And let's open the other side. Okay, like that. So this is the tail. Let me see. I kind of like to have the lobster claw sitting this way up. So that's why I'm checking. I don't think it's going to matter. I think it's going to start like bouncing around anyway. So get that on the tail. And close this up. And we want it on the bottom side of the tail. It keeps flipping. Oh, these a little more finagling. Okay, let's try it this way. And watch, I'll do it on this bottom side of the tail, and I'll be like, oh, I should put it on the other. No, I think that's good. So here is, if we attach it to, so at this point, this bracelet could be done. That's how simple that would be. And let's see if I can put it on my wrist without too much trouble. That. And grab. This is, I have a hard time opening things anyway, so yeah. Let's see if we can. There. So yeah, this is nice. And you know what? I was surprised. I thought maybe once we started adding stuff, it would feel too much on my wrist. But this is nice. You guys are probably laughing. Why am I getting so excited about something I made? I made it because I knew it was going to be good. But every once in a while, I'll do a project. I'm like, oh, I have a feeling this isn't going to work. So let's attach this. I don't know that we need to, but let's attach it. Okay, put it like that. So now on these jump rings, actually this one we'll put on here, we're going to attach our beads. So what I'm going to use, I'm going to get rid of some of these things here. I'm going to use this Beadalon stringing wire, satin gold. It's super tiny. I made the mistake of, I looked at the 7 strand and I didn't pay attention to this. I had ordered some silver that was quite a bit thicker than this. But you know what? For this bracelet, it'll be perfect. So it doesn't matter that it's super small. So I'm just going to clip a piece. And you can use whatever stringing material you have. Or you could do beaded chain underneath as well. So let's cut this one. Get these guys off. Oh, that's going to look really pretty. And then put some beads out. Let's move these guys. You know, it's funny, this one weighs a lot more. Oh yeah, it's made differently. You see, this one's hollow and this one's solid. Huh. Interesting. This is the stuff they have on AliExpress. So I hope everybody's doing well. Kids are getting ready to go back to school. We have 3 schools at the end of our street, which is like not very far. And then there's like a walking path through sports fields, and at the top of the hill are the schools. So the bus stop is at the bottom of our street. So the kids go from the bus stop to the top, so they walk by. My cat has gotten so excited when he sees the little kids from daycare. They have them and they hold on to the rope and they all go. So every morning at 10 a.m., he goes out to our bay window and watches the kids go by. So it's gotten to be quite a event. I don't know why I'm looking at these. Where the kids start waving at my cat in the window. I'm looking for my crimp beads. Nope. So I've been doing some organizing. Not a good thing. And they were at the top after all that silliness. Let's see. There we go. So I think we'll stick with gold. Oh, one of them didn't look like it looked like a glass bead. Okay, I think what we'll do, trying to decide if I attach it first, then put the beads on. I kind of feel like we need a jump ring here, and I'll tell you why, because I want this to move a bit. So let's put a jump ring on there to get our... But it's going to have to be, let's try this one here. I think these are 7s. Try a 5. I should try this on to make sure it fits, because this loop is quite big. And these are 18 gauge jump rings, so they're quite thick. Yeah, that looks like it's going to work. And make sure that your jump ring is nice and snug, because otherwise your wire will slide off of that hole there. Okay. So let's let's take a crimp bead, put that on there. I took a big piece of wire, so there still looks like there's quite a gap there. Let's see if we can get that in closer, because this wire is so thin it'll go right through it. There. Oh yeah, that's not gonna go through it. And so you've got your crimp bead through your wire, then your wire through the jump ring, and then fold it over and bring it back through. I don't know if that went in. Nope. Flip that and go to bit there. I think I'm gonna just squeeze this flat. I kind of like the way they look when they're flat, but you can definitely use your crimping tool. So I'm just gonna pat, yeah, like that. And this is nice and tight, so it's not moving. So I will clip this piece right at the edge. It's not going anywhere. There. Okay, so let's thread some of these guys. Let's do a spacer bead and then one of these rondelles. So these spacer beads, they're 15.0 gold. I got from AliExpress, and I did a review of this seller that provided these 15.0s. Just to mention, and I don't think I mentioned it in the review, the gold looks translucent. So unlike a regular spacer bead, but you know what? I liked the look of it, so it didn't really matter that it was. Oh, this is gonna look amazing. I'm wondering if I should have put a couple. Nah, don't worry about it. I'm so like, I want to say wishy-washy, indecisive. I'm like, maybe I should do this, maybe I should do that. Perfectionist, maybe. Okay, let's just poke these guys there. There. So I think I probably start with 10 on the one side before I hook it. Oh, we should have put a jump ring on the other. All of this bead's all mashed up. That's the first time I've ever seen that. Put that aside. And one of these. Oh, this is going to be pretty. Wow, I can't believe the effect. So let me see how much of a dangle do we want. Okay, that one's tight, so no, it needs to be maybe something like that. So I think we probably need 3 or 4 more. So just an update on how I'm doing. I had my 4th radiation treatment, 4 out of 5 on Friday, and I have my final radiation treatment on Monday. So I have, normally you go for 3 weeks, but there's a new technique where they use a higher dose and you don't have to go as often. So that's what I'm doing. So initially I had some, oh, this is going to be amazing. So let's put a jump ring on here before we do anything else. So when I saw them on Friday, the technician or therapist, radiation therapist, they ask you, so how you're doing and stuff like that. And I usually say fine, and then they quantify it and say, are you having any swelling, any this, any that. So I did tell them that I had swelling in my armpit and my hand was numb the night before. And I was getting pretty severe itchiness, and I said it's not on the skin, it's inside the breast. So they were like, okay, so we'll send a message to the nurse to see if you can see the nurse or the doctor. So when you're done here, just go back to the waiting room and stay seated and they'll come and get you. So, of course, Friday's kind of busy and stuff, and the doctors are in other parts of the hospital, which are in other parts of the city. So it's not like they can just, walk from a different part of the hospital. So they said they gave me some recommendations. One of them was taking Benadryl. And I thought, I never even thought of that for the itchiness. So sounded like I was getting an allergic reaction to the radiation. So I did that and I was surprised. I mean, really not surprised, but surprised I hadn't thought of it myself being a nurse. Right? But it's hard to know. Like, I've never had any experience with radiation. So I put 4, and I'll tell you why, because we're going to do is put our wire through. So the 4 should separate the 2 sides. Actually, let me think about this, because I kind of like the way this looks. I'll bring those down first and see. The reason I'm pausing is maybe we need to cut this and loop it onto there and not make it one piece so that it doesn't slide all over the place. Because then, you'll get, I guess these beads won't go any further. They won't go through that. So I think we are safe. Okay, that's a little easier. Let's just go through there. Yeah, so the swelling they are concerned about. I guess, again, they don't tell you this in the pamphlet and stuff like that, and videos that I watched were very basic about getting kind of a sunburn reaction to your skin. But now I think what we'll do is we'll go ahead and add the same amount of beads. So we got 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. So I didn't know that swelling can happen into the arm. So they don't want that to happen. It's quite debilitating. So I looked at some videos and it was saying how that 50% of women getting radiation for breast cancer get that edema. Now, I'm sure part of that number has to do with women that had lymph node involvement, and I did not at this point. So they do treat, like give you radiation to the side of your torso below your armpit, and the reason being that there is breast tissue on the side of your torso. There can be breast tissue in a lot of places in your armpits, so it's really important for them to check everything. 2, 4, 6. Let's put 3 more out so I can remember. Did I get a little bead there? So that they're concerned that that could be an issue. Now, this last night I did some massage of my arm to reduce that fluid retention that's in the armpit. And this morning there's no swelling. I didn't get any numbness, so I'm super stoked. One more treatment and I'm done. And then this Wednesday I have an appointment for urodynamic test, and it's like a pre-surgical situation for my abdominal surgery, so that's just pain in the butt, but just, I think we might take it apart and link the two separately, because I'll tell you, I don't know if you can see this, but instead of dangling nicely, it's kind of staying funny because it's not bending at this point, and I kind of want it to hang down a little more. So you could do it this way, but I think it'll look nicer. So let's take these guys off. And take our wire down and get a crimp bead, and then put it through, and then put it through the crimp bead again. And sorry, I'm kind of off to the side because my camera ends right here, so I can't see what's here. So I keep like going to the side. So I apologize. And just hold that apart and squeeze nice like that. I'm going to make sure that that thread is not going to come out. And squeeze it down a bit more. And you can definitely do a proper crimp on this. I like the way these look, but that's just me. You can always cover it up with a crimp cover, which I have some really tiny ones, 3mm ones. That's better. So that's what I wanted it to dangle nicely. Like that. That's perfect. Okay, so let's get 2 more crimp beads out. And we'll put one of these crimp beads on and then go through the jump ring and bring your end through the crimp bead again. That. Bring that up. good. I find the tips of these flesh cutters get dull very quickly. Now I know I use the tips a lot, but that's no reason for them to do that. I need you to stay sharp. Be on the ball. Okay, let's get these guys on there. I definitely will be. Okay, I put 2 on the other side, so let's do the same. I will definitely be sealing the holes on this because these are really, this bracelet's turning out a lot nicer. Let me get that so you can see it while we're working on it. There we go. Let me get up here so you can see what I'm doing. Let me bring this down a bit. Some of these 15-0s are a little tiny, and I did find that and mentioned that in the review, that even with a size 12 needle, sometimes they were hard to get through. But they are lovely. It was a great way to get some inexpensive 15s with multiple colors. Now, having said that, you know, when you use 15s, you don't usually use a lot. So if you bought 1 tube of 15s, you'd probably be fine for as long as you're beading, probably. I can't imagine you would use a whole tube for anything. If you do, let me know. I'm curious to know what you're making. I'm always curious to know what people are making. Yeah, so this one's a little hard to get through. This would be lovely as a pendant as well, for sure. So maybe we'll do a pendant, like a necklace. Let's take a look at where we're to. So I think we're probably going to add. Okay, we got 2, 4, 6, 7, 2 more. I think we're going to add more to the tail. I thought we might because it's a little further away, but not much. Maybe 4 more. There's 1. So the Canadian National Exhibition is open for the first time in 2 years after it being shut down. And so that's in Toronto, and that's where I grew up. And my wife was like, yeah, I don't get the, big deal about it and stuff. I'm like, okay, so here's the dealio. I actually have memories of being like maybe 5 years old and going with my oldest sisters, and they were so funny. So they used to take us places because guys thought we were so cute. So then my sisters would attract. Now, I don't understand why you need a child with you to have that effect when my sisters were gorgeous anyway, right? So it's like, I don't think you need a kid with you. So funny. Okay, so that looks like that's gonna do it. let's go through. Let's put. I put 2 on the other side. So let's put 2 on this side. So yeah. So the exhibition was pretty awesome. You know, what was funny too is I actually worked at the exhibition one year, and it was so funny. So you'll hear on the radio, the exhibition's hiring today and tomorrow or something like that. So you go down to the exhibition grounds, and I am wondering about putting another jump ring there. It's getting tight, but you know what? I think we should. So let's get the same ones we were using. So me and a friend, we both drove motorcycles, so we used to hang out, and he lived next door to my oldest sisters, and so we used to hang out all the time. Anyway, so we had motorcycles, so we're like, oh, let's go get jobs. So we go, this is probably not going to fit. Yeah, I don't think that's going to fit, and it's going to make things super tight. Maybe what I should do is attach it to the other. Okay, let's just attach it to the other. Since it's on a jump ring, we can always switch it up if we don't like it. So we went to apply, and you go, they have like a trailer and they hand you an application. I think we were 16 at the time, and I don't remember what they asked you, but there was like math questions, and I think the thing was back then, you remember I'm old, they didn't have, and because like it's a transient event, so there's no like stores with cash registers and stuff like that. It's like huts, and now as it turned out, I did end up working at one of the permanent buildings, but you had to calculate totals in your head when you're charging people for their food. So they ask questions like that. So then they take them and they look at your application, and they, like, one person does, and then they say, okay, go over here, there's a whatever job, and somebody's there, they'll talk to you and see what the scoop is. This does not want to get closer here. So one of the ones that I went to was a t-shirt making place, and what it was hieroglyphics that spelt your name. So you had to be able to identify the hieroglyphics, I think, and spell people's names with it. And I mean, I did well. So I don't know why I didn't get hired for that job. I was like, really? But who knows? I think they may have wanted somebody a little cooler than me and a little more exciting to, because part of it is you're yelling to people saying, come on, get your such and such, and I don't know. I don't even know why I went. It was kind of stupid. But so anyway, I did get it. Both of us got this job at the same place, which was great. So we could hang out together. And so we ended up working in like a fast food restaurant kind of thing. And I'm just checking that jump ring. These jump rings are hard to close properly. We'll do it anyway. So next door to us was a croissant shop, and they made fresh croissants while you were there, and they made chocolate croissants. They were the most amazing things I've ever tasted. I could not believe how extraordinary they were. So there was chocolate inside and then drizzle. So the chocolate was liquid because it just came out of the oven. And oh my God, it was unbelievable. Needless to say, it was a good thing I was skinny back then because I ate one for breakfast, I ate one for lunch, I ate one before I left at the end of the day. So, okay, like that. But yeah, it was super fun, but there was a lot of crap going on. Like, they wanted us to serve meat that was bad, and I guess the guy that I worked with, they were yelling at him to put it in a sink filled with cold water and baking soda to get the slime off of the meat. And he's like, I'm not doing it. No way. I'm not going to serve people bad food. And so he went and filed a complaint with somebody, and of course he got fired. But yeah, and then they tried not to pay me at the end. So it's only like a 2-week thing. So I think they pay you weekly. So you get your first paycheck. Then your second paycheck, it ends up being your last. And somebody came in and said, you better hurry and go get your paycheck. They're not paying people. So we all went running to the hut where the boss was and waited in line and stuff, and had to argue with her to get our pay. Yeah, that was pretty crazy. So this is done. Oh my gosh, this looks amazing. Let me see if I can just, let's do it this way on the wrist. So that is lovely. Very nice. Let me see if I can get this on. Let's go like this and get this part. There. That is awesome. That's wild. This really turned out nice. These guys look like they are kind of crisp. There we go. They look like they are crisscrossed. I should have put a bigger bead at the end so that they wouldn't cross over, but there you go. Hope you enjoyed that and my little story of the C&E. The job itself was not too bad, but super busy all the time, and you work every day for 10 days straight, so that part sucks. But yeah, there we go. Take care, everybody. See you in the next video. Bye.